created the best of creation. Allah created with his own hand, right? That human being is reduced to this. Allah himself is saying, his Khalifa is reduced to the lowliest of creature. So please remember this 822 and memorize it, maybe today. Because it doesn't come any better than this. So what is the problem? They do not use Aql. Everything starts with that. Without Aql, you're nothing. Memorizing all these technologies and memorizing all these lessons, they mean nothing unless you have Aql. And you are using it. Prophet Muhammad said, 4 traits of Munafiq. Munafiq is Nifaq is a dynamic term, Munafiq is a static term. But it never fails. It starts with a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And we discuss what is a lie when your intention is other than pleasing Allah. It's a lie. So you start off with a lie. And if you do not have Aql, you are illogical. See, be it kufr, be it nifaq, be it fisk, everything starts with a lie. And you insist on lying because you are not using Aql. If you lied once and used Aql and said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, what have I done? Let me return. That's not a problem. You do not become munafiq. You made a mistake. You have one case of nifaq. But if you insist, that's where you become munafiq. You're gone. Dumb and deaf, blind, that case. And they do not return. That's the ultimate waste of a human being. The word in English is preposterous. I used to Google Translate, it used to give me a word in Pashto that has Aql in it. But now it disappeared. It's giving a different word. So I went to Arabic. Preposterous in English means upside down. It's not just not good. It's not just illogical. It's completely opposite. It's completely opposite, upside down. Right? Like going up graph would be you'd be looking at going up graph and thinking it's going down. Everything is turned upside down. That's preposterous. Preposterous is without Aql. In Persian there is a word, but I don't have it anymore.
Bi'aql.
Huh?
Bi'aql.
Bi'aql? Yeah, there you go.
Without Aql.
Yeah.
No, it's like without Aql.
Yeah, without Aql.
We want something that's opposite to Aql.
Yes, preposterous is opposite to Aql, meaning.
So Bi'aql is like the 0 level. You want a negative level.
Negative level. That I do not know. In English there is a term. So what I mean is everything you choose is exactly opposite. Best looks like the worst. And I give a simple example. Again, example from real life is a good one. One of my Mujahid friends said, he was afraid if I die, think about it. Very good friend, if I die, he was afraid that Elif will say to the authority that this guy killed him. See the logic? You see how preposterous it is? That's what purpose stress. It's not that I'm sad you will die. It's not that how will I take care of this girl? How will I tell her that her mother and father both dead? It's fear is from that girl. Instead of having empathy, instead of crying for her, you are fearing that person. For what? He killed. That makes her a liar. Who are you supposed to do? Trust. Children of the least line, right? That's what I mean by purpose trust. So, if you can catch that, then you can correct right in the beginning. Because if you do not correct right in the beginning, it becomes worse. In the context of waste, we're on the topic of zero waste, it's really important. Any deliberate stupidity is anti-art. Preposterous. So, one example, keep lights on all night. Nobody uses it. The West does it, by the way. They have this focus. The sign of civilization is lights on. If you take the NASA at night, the most light ones are civilized world. But that's Shaitan. That's not us. But they keep the light on. So that's stupidity. Why is it stupidity? Because nobody needs the light. It's a waste. But the light, if the light is electric, then it's harmful light. That's stupidity square. Not only you're wasting, it's actually harmful for you, especially when you're sleeping and nobody is in. We talked about that. You get breast cancer or prostate cancer just for 5 minutes. Yet all over the third world, they invented this dim light. I don't know if you came across that or not.
Mm-hmm.
At night you have a 15-watt light bulb. In the West, we do not use it. In the East, that's the symbol of civilization. So I'm rich, therefore I have that light. So that's stupidity square. But then you're poor. You cannot even pay the bill, electric bill. Real life, I'm sure you have come across this case.
Yes.
They cannot pay the electric bill, it is cut off. And yet you're wasting. That's stupidity cube. You see the point? How it is becoming preposterous, completely empty. Then you're a Muslim. You're not even supposed to waste water from river, which is plentiful. You know the hadith. You know wasting is haram, even on drop. Isn't it true? We all know the hadith. We all know the order of Allah. That's stupidity 4 to the power 4. So who is the most stupid? Who is the closest to Shaitan? Shaitan is the ultimate stupid. Who is next as a nation? Bani Israel. We talked about that. Shaitan is so stupid that he destroyed his life. For what? What is the logic? If you mislead people, what do you gain? Still he did it. Bani Israel did the same. Today, classic example, Israel. Israel is up to 3. Israel has to get billions of dollars. Last week, US gave $28 billion. What are they using for bombing?
Yeah.
You don't even have money and you're bombing. So that's the stupid cube. Still, Saudi Arabia is worse. Because Saudi Arabia knows the truth. That's why the warning against Bani Israel, warning against Muslims that follow Bani Israel is the harshest. In Surah Baqarah 25, 85, 86, Surah Baqarah 85, 86, you can check that out, 85, 86. That's the only group Allah said their punishment will never be reduced. Check that out. If any other group has got that kind of harsh word, no other group.
وإذا قيل لهم لا تفسدوا في الأرض قالوا إنما نحن
Muslim.
مصلحون
Yes.
ألا إنهم هم المفسدون ولكن لا يشعرون.
Yeah. So, but in Surah Baqarah, literally in 86, it's saying, for the group, their punishment will never be reduced because they chose Hayatul Dunya over Akhirah. In 85, Allah is saying, they know, they choose the book, certain verses, and reject others. That's the group. So they brags about being the custodian of the two mosques. They brag about Sharia law, don't they? So we're the only country that has Sharia, even better than Afghanistan, because in Afghanistan you do not cut hand all the time. They brag about it. Yet they are in that category that whose punishment will never. So this is to the power 4. So in terms of zero waste, we talk about first water as an example of matter, then sunlight as an example of energy. And we'll show in this chapter that both can be zero waste. So what is water? Water is the first creation.
What?
Water is literally the first creation. And it's matter. If you include Qadr is the intangible creation, right? That's the plant, right? Plant comes first. But tangible, water. So matter came before energy. Talk about research. If you are content with whatever research has been done, you would not know. 2020, it's very recent. In Islam, it's very clear. I wrote in 2014, this is not logical, the core of the earth has iron, according to them. Do you see that? From deductive logic, I said it's not logical because Allah said first creation is water. So water has to be the one continuous phase. 6 years later, these guys in Nature, which is the most prestigious journal, they showed that in the core is full of water. Same proportion as on Earth, meaning 70% water.
And the core of the earth?
Yes, it's new finding. So if you are content with Newtonian science and dollar sign science, you never know. So what are you talking about? But Shaitan is not content. Shaitanic people, you see, stupidity, cubic people are studying. Stupidity to the power 4 people are not. That's the difference. They are very content. We don't need to do research. America is doing everything. Now China is doing everything. But they are telling you the core of the earth is 70% water. They did not know before. They found water out of this galaxy. Yet Big Bang Theory said what? Everything was hydrogen. Where is the water? If everything was hydrogen, where is the free hydrogen now floating around? You do not see it. So all the dollar signs is illogical.
Dr. Sir, if they say that core of the earth is mostly water, how are they explaining the gravitation now? Because they say that the earth has a magnetic field because the molten iron is moving back and
This is
forth.
the catch. Shaitan never explains. They develop another theory, for instance, Big Bang. Big Bang was countered with Big Freeze in Australia. So what happens to whatever I explain in Big Bang? If Big Bang theory is correct, then we were expanding at a slower rate. In 2011, Nobel Prize was given because we were expanding at a faster rate. They are giving Nobel Prize to the one who proved them wrong.
There also another to the big rip. So
That's another one.
that
Right.
bursting.
So, this is the catch. None of them can explain everything. Only thing that does is Quran. And that's why I said, only one that is real is Quran and Hadith. Evidence-based is the only Quran and Hadith. Nothing else. None of them can explain everything. And all of them are false. In Islam, you can explain everything. And none of them is false. Completely opposite path. So when it comes to water in the core is the reservoir. Unlike what we have been told. We have been told what? Water is in the crust only. Below there is nothing. And we are also told that we came from sun. Isn't it true?
Yes.
New science says we came from sun. The composition of sun is different from composition of life. How do you explain? Nobody explains because nobody asks.
So basically they have Carl Sagan, I guess, they had the saying that we are stardust.
Yeah, it's stardust. That's the most common. Every says the word stardust. Who told you? Nobody even tells them. Who on earth told you? When they say 14.8, which is now 17 billion, which will also change. Why 14.8? Who told you that? Nobody asked. Because people of knowledge of the book are asleep. They are become dumb, deaf and blind with stupidity to the power 4 sitting there. So this water is so precious, it has 75% is water, right? But guess what? 97.5% is saline water. So little, only 2.5%. So that's not enough. Only fresh water is 2.5%. You cannot drink it. But that's not enough. 69% of that is frozen. You see, we should never think that we have so much that we don't worry about it. We don't. Allah has made everything in proportion. For the entire living object, nobody lives without fresh water, right? Only few bacteria can live in saline water. Others die. In their inside, you cannot have salt. So everybody relies on that 2.5%, but 69% of that is wise. And that's not enough. Only 30% is underground. So you have to dig. It's not easy. And only 0.3%, 0.3 comes from river. And that for everybody. You make wuzu, you make the animals drink, everything is available. Only 0.3%. 0.9%, 3 times more is in the fog. You cannot access it. Moisture. So don't listen, oh, I have plentiful, brother, what are you talking about? Everything is a proportion. It doesn't matter how much you have. If you make a mess, you are causing fasad that will last you until the day of judgment. You're responsible.
So here the water of river and oceans
Yeah,
become cloud and again they are
right.
become to rain and transport to the
Yes,
become
that's the system.
yeah. It means
If you break that cycle,
yeah,
and we talked about how you can break it.
yeah.
If you put chlorine in your water to purify, you broke the cycle, didn't you? Do you think that water will go back? No, you wasted it. No waste, even one molecule of waste joins the mainstream, is wasted. And that's where you are treating for cycle. Of course, Allah said that every living object, every living organism comes from water. And it makes sense.
وجعلنا من الماء كل شيء.
Yeah. So this is the cycle we're talking about. Natural cycle. We have rain and snow, both same function. It's pure water. We have precipitation, we have seepage, we have groundwater, we have evaporation, we have cloud, and it's a closed cycle.
But also, like if we build dams, so it's also like disrupting the natural cycle.
You're doing it depending on what you're doing. For instance, the project that was given to, we're not talking about dam to create electricity, that's completely off, right? But even to redirect the natural path. You remember the project of Ibn Hassan in Egypt? He was asked to redirect the path of Nile because they were having this difficulty. The flood time was different from drought time, so they wanted to redirect the Nile River, so it's proportional. Right? It's a typical problem in Bangladesh, for instance. India is blocking the path. And Ibn Haytham studied, and he said, I cannot do it, because it's not sustainable. You cannot change the natural course. What does it fall under? Fall under from natural to artificial.
So dam for agriculture, is it sustainable or not? Just for agriculture, not electricity.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. In general, right? For instance, you're getting water from the ground. Channeling water to water but you're not changing the course of the river. Dam is a different thing. Dam you actually block and reorient the path, natural path.
Potential energy storage.
That's right. That's different.
Like in Quran, there's discussion of a nation who had built dam, and they were like getting prosperity from the dam.
Yes, that's agriculture.
Yes, and Allah said that it was a ni'mat from us that they had like agriculture and farms, and then when they were sinful, so we broke the dam.
Yeah, you see, agriculture application is okay, but the notion that you reorient the river either to produce electricity or to change the course so certain areas are benefited, that's not allowed. That's why I said the agriculture application is very much applicable. It's sustainable. You have to know this. What is the natural state? For everything, first thing you have to know, what is the natural state? Because that's your standard. Right? What is the natural state of a human being? Fitra. That's our natural state. So anytime we have problem, we go back to our fitra. Right? That's our natural state. Our natural state is to submit to Allah. We are born Muslim. So what is the natural state of water? In Surah Baqarah, recently my daughter used that. Actually, these slides are hers. What does it mean? Everything on earth is for our benefit. Water is the first creation, right? So everything that Allah has made for us is in water. So if you take out one of them, you're creating imbalance.
Even our body contains different of the
Exactly. And
blood.
that I have coming up, slides coming up. People did not know. If you even Google now, they will tell you there are only 29 elements that are useful.
18
Again, Shaitan does his own study. But Islamically, there is not one element, including uranium, including radium, including strontium. They should be useful in a natural state. And that nobody gets. So in new science, they keep finding new elements. For instance, 10 years ago, they did not know arsenic is good for you.
Science mentioned 18 bioelements. 18 bioelements.
No, now it's 29. This
29?
latest.
Yeah, 20.
Meaning 29 have the function,
These 29 elements
biological function.
make biomolecule.
Yes, they have a function, they have usefulness.
Biomolecule make cell organelles. Cell organelles make cell.
That's right. So they're essential. That's what they're saying. So if it's 28 or 18, what is the rest? Allah made a mistake. So logically, they should be part of the. You just do not detect because you do not have the means to detect it. Arsenic is a classic example. We thought arsenic is only bad. You know what is arsenic good for? Memory in your brain.
Yeah.
If you do not have arsenic, you get Alzheimer. But it has natural, very small amount. So, natural state of water is all the minerals that you have. All of them should be there. So, where is that found? Not in rainwater, because it evaporates and came back, right? Not even in river water, in groundwater.
Groundwater.
The best for drinking is groundwater. Sure enough, this division is new. This is from my, I have the agriculture book that you have a copy now, right? Nobody looked at it and said, well, groundwater is for drinking, river water is for agriculture, biological wastewater is for other purpose, rainwater is for cleaning. Nobody did that.
So the groundwater is very important because it contains all type of minerals.
That's right.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
consumption.
Yeah, when we go to the mountain areas here, there in our village, after every 2 hours, you try to eat something. Your digestive system becomes so fast. We don't know what.
Yeah, we have classic example. Did I talk about that in Ecuador? That was the place where they had the longest life expectancy. The average was 85 or something, because the groundwater is very good, right? Once they introduced purification, because a lot of tourists were coming there, they became the number one for stomach cancer.
But sir, we have some areas that there is a groundwater have a salt. It is salty.
Yes, that's
when
it's
we
coming.
test that, and also some others.
Yes. That's why, you see, I think it is here. It was in a different slide. My daughter found out if you go too deep, you have saline water. In petroleum industry, we all know that. Every well you drill, after a certain depth, is salt water. And when you produce petroleum, it always comes with salt water, never fresh water. As a matter of fact, it's illegal to produce from fresh water. You have to close it and isolate it, because salt water will get into your fresh water system. So deeper you go, more likely you will get salt water, and that's not good. So literally it's aquifer. I remember in Canada I was driving 70 kilometers to get fresh spring water. It was coming out artisanal well by itself. A lot of people go, and that did not require any certification and any purification. You keep it for months, not a problem.
So how did you get it and
we
preserve it?
drive and fill it up. I used to have a glass container, and that was used for wine. But it broke after later. But the plastic containers, we fill them up. Because 70 kilometers is long drive, so we would not go every day, obviously. But a few months, 2 months, when we left, when my wife passed away, she was drinking that water, and we had a whole bunch of them left. When we left, we always had to store spring water. So you have to be aware, you have to be consciously finding out what I can do. It's not about lecturing people, it's about you and yourself. How can I optimize this? So take that, the mess you have made, how wasteful. We're focusing on just how wasteful we are. In the West, every town, every village even, they have a water purification plant. They get water in the tap, and that water is purified, so-called purified. With what? With chlorine, minimum. Nowadays, they inject other chemicals such as fluoride. This is good for your teeth. But this is the thing. Now US is banning them with the new health minister. Only 0.1%, meaning what? 100 times all the water you have, only 0.1% you are drinking. But you are poisoning the whole water. You cannot have our so-called pure water at all. You see the point? It's wasteful and it's harmful. So your plant is getting so-called purified water. Plant do not need purified water. Actually, they hate it. But you're paying a lot of money for chemicals, so you can pollute everything, and you're drinking point. Now, last 15 years, that has changed. Everybody buys bottled water anyway. So it has no meaning. They should have no chemical added. It's just everybody in Canada you cannot dig your own well. So they do not even give you the opportunity, give you the permission to dig your own well. You have to get their toxic well, because chemical industry is the most profit-making organization. So this is utterly stupid. So we have this in this book, and there's one quick note about this book. I don't know if you have uploaded this. Sustainable water purification. You see the picture in the center, right? Elif was 5-year-old, and she drew that picture with hand, right? This Yannian concept, earth and sky, right? Cloud. She drew it, and she said, "Dad, you put this in the book." So I gave it to the publisher. I said, "This is the notion," and they paid somebody $2,000 to make that beautiful picture. My daughter was angry when she saw that. So what happened to my picture? Dad, he promised that he's going to the book. What is this? I said, well, nobody is going to, and of course, but that book was dedicated to my daughter. So there's a story to everything. So when she was presenting her work a few days ago, everybody is stunned. Everybody is stunned. I said, don't be surprised, because she has been seeing this from age 5. It's never too early to introduce research to children from the beginning, because that's where the creativity is highest. engage them. I talked about John, my sons, how they were engaged in Sharia research, right? What is the definition, what is the meaning of Masad and all this? Typical Sharia research from age 4. Don't shy away. Anyway, this book highlights the real science of water. This is not dollar science, this is real science. Published by those guys, these are Americans. And we talk about sustainable drinking water purification. For drinking, it's different. See, agriculture application is different. Cleaning application is different. For cleaning, the best water is rainwater, because it has no mineral. It's hungry to suck out these minerals. The worst thing you can drink is water. There is rainwater, because it will suck out the minerals. Instead of nourishing it, it will do the opposite. And China did that experiment, and they found out how bad it was to give distilled water to people.
But now the people say, sir, that that water which are not filtered, that has the problems to the kidney.
Stupidity to the power 4.
So what is the solution there, sir?
Two things are infinite: the universe and human stupidity.
And he said, I'm not so sure about universe.
Yeah.
Okay, see, now that was for water. 0.1% you are polluting 100% to drink 0.1%, which is you're not again using. You see how stupid it is? We saw in energy the reactor or the what is it called that produces electricity generator, right?
Hydrogen.
A coal fired or whatever you're doing, it's running 24/7, isn't it? If you turn off all the lights, nothing happens. The guy is still running. You see the difference? It's based on wasting. Power companies will make no money if you turn it off. They will become very angry because you are not paying anything and say, hey, my electricity is zero. Because they are paying the same, because the generator is running. So, dollar science is inherently stupid and wasteful. Same with that in energy. You see, did you ever think of that? When you turn it off, nothing happens. They are still running the same. So it's inherently wasteful. Same with water. It doesn't matter if you're drinking water or not, they are all purifying the same amount. So-called purifying. Their chemical consumption is the same. Facade doesn't stop. So, we talk about some aspects of both energy and mass. What is the first trait of Munafiq? They lie. When they speak, they lie. Second one was what? They make a covenant, they are treacherous. They break it. Anything Shaitan promises is the opposite. Now we made a lot of waves, people are getting angry that I'm calling them Shaitan technique. They're exactly the same. All these products, they made a promise. And all of them were broken. Classic example. Microwave. Everybody is proud actually in this country. In the previous place, they brought me a microwave and said, Doctor, we have become like America. We have this. They are surprised. Said, even for water. I said, "Yeah, exactly, particularly for water. It's the most toxic. It will change water into something else.
But also we are still using electric heaters.
Yes, exactly.
Boilers.
It's not the same. It's not the same. That water is never water anymore. See, you remember Shaitan's promise? He'll change everything from natural to artificial, right? That's what we're talking about. But energy, nobody sees it because it's new. What is the problem? Because once you put energy as no matter, right? Photon is zero mass. You cannot see the difference. That's why we did that exercise where if it's electric, if it's microwave, you are actually changing the nature of the mass. Because no energy comes out of nothing. It comes out as artificial material. And that artificial material doesn't go anywhere. So what is the promise? It will be fresh, bursting with nutrition. That's the word they used to use. Bursting with nutrition. In reality, 97%. You see, preposterous that the word, what is it, Biakel? Antiakel. How it is exactly opposite. Bursting with nutrition, 97% of nutrition is destroyed. But with that is 2005. In 2003, I wrote about it. The histological, because from petroleum engineering, we know what this does. It changes the molecular structure. You are blowing up molecules. That's why it is heated.
There is a study in Japan.
Yeah.
Like they were testing on water, and even if you say something, the sound waves affect the composition of water.
Because nothing is from nothing. See, where did it come from? So right now, if I ask you, if you have water and there's a music playing, you have another water, Quran playing, right? Somebody reciting Quran, another music playing, are they the same water? No. Can you use new science to describe them? The difference? No. Because new science says, what are you talking about? Science, the music has no mass. Isn't that what you are told? So there's the difference. That's why I said, you cannot ignore anything. That music came from something artificial. And that thing is right here. That's why we had to work out the theory first. And the theories are in every book. We talked about galaxy theory, for instance. So, fluorescent light, it's called white light, second one. What is it? You actually see that it fights cabin fever. What is cabin fever? It's so dark. I was in Alaska and it's like 2 hours of darkness. Only 2 hours of little light and then the sun goes back. They call it cabin fever, meaning you are inside dark and you get depressed. So to fight cabin fever, you can fight cabin fever with this fluorescent light. That was the promise. So you will get out of depression. Until now, it's all over the place. All over the place. White light therapy, they call it. That's Shaitan's promise. What actually happens? Of course, you talked about breast cancer and all this, but even psychologically, it's so bad that in Guantanamo Bay, they torture you with this white light all night. They keep it on. So Shaitan's scheme is exposed by Shaitan's studies. We cannot wait for Shaitan to show us it's wrong. We have to do deductive research, we have to do Quran and Hadith real research, the deductive logic to say, this is bad to begin with. Why on earth to introduce this? That we need to do. Prozac, next one, was called the miracle. It was the miracle medicine for fighting depression. It actually was given to my mother. She was, well, I was in the US and my parents came and visited. She fell in depression for many reasons. Of course, Prozac. It's supposed to be the miracle medicine. What does it do? Why is depression? Keep in mind, it makes you more suicidal. Very recently, one of the girls I know in Canada, she was 19, when she was rushed to hospital because she had a nervous breakdown. She was crying. She did not know. She was locked up. Treatment. You know, in Canada, if it is a mental case, they lock you up. They do not let you out. Even though you're 18, you should be able to say, I want to get over it. This is a mental case, doctor has to authorize. She was locked up for 3 weeks. She got out, continued medicine. She did not want to take it. They force you. Committed suicide when she was 21. Very bright student, very, very bright. As a matter of fact, I found her possibly the best student I have seen in Canada. My son's another friend during COVID time, everybody was feeling depressed, including my son, because he was a hockey player and he has a very active life. All of a sudden, no hockey, no physical activity, depressed. 3 cases, my colleague's daughter, my son, and another friend of my son. Friend of my son committed suicide. My son I treated with hijama and acupuncture, plus salat. The third one, my colleague's daughter, not acupuncture or anything, this parents said, we are not giving him medicine. It doesn't matter what you have. She cured. My son cured faster. Other one committed suicide. This is what medicine does. Exactly opposite. Vibes. It's